They don't know my processes, so I can explain to them, this is exactly what I want to do, but this is what I think you can do with it. And then they can tell me, oh yeah, this is a possibility. I can do this, I can do that. So I don't know all those DAX formulas. If you ask me now, I might not be able to tell you, but I know what Power BI can do. And I'll just say here as well, I didn't just stay with my HR certifications. I got a Six Sigma certification, I got a CSPO certification, as an Agile Process Owner, but the knowledge has helped me to be a better HR person. I remember when I wanted to become a business analyst and I was thinking that a career switch was what I needed. And the knowledge I got from, because I actually did a CBA boot camp, and I will say that it wasn't wasted knowledge. I still apply it, whether consciously or unconsciously.
Hello and welcome to this episode of the IT Journeys and Convos podcast. My guest today is Tobi Odunowo. His experience cuts across various industries, including energy, transportation, telecommunications, and non-governmental organizations. Today, we'll be discussing a wide range of topics, including how Tobi has been able to leverage his skills in Power BI to become an expert in HR data analysis. We'll also be talking about how his certification in product ownership and his knowledge of business analysis has helped him grow in his HR career. Join us today as we talk to Tobi Odunowo. How do you interact with IT teams? How do you collaborate with them to make sure your work is being enhanced? And how do you kind of navigate that place where you're not seen as, trying to make yourself an IT person while you're not in IT?
Yeah, good question. So the first thing I recognize is that I'm not an IT person. And then the IT people are also not HR people. So whilst they have an advantage in terms of knowing how to code and all of those things, I have an advantage in understanding my processes and being a domain expert. But the only way collaboration can work is when we speak the same language. So I try my best to know as much as I could to be able to speak the tech people's language and to understand how their solutions can enable my processes. So I don't go so much into tech. It's interesting because I actually started a course just a few days ago to learn how to use Python with Power BI. Right. I currently use Power BI. I've learned enough to, do some DAX formulas. I've built some dashboards that are kind of, as use time intelligence and stuff like that. You can tell me, okay, how many new training courses did we develop the past 7 days, on certain projects that has to do with, training development, like a lot of training, like hundreds of training that we have to do within a time frame. So I will say that I did stretch myself a little bit. And I'll say for anyone who is wondering how you're able to do all of that, make Google your friend. So I don't know all those DAX formulas. If you ask me now, I might not be able to tell you, but I know what Power BI can do. And I know what the possibilities are. And I just go on a search and I find someone who's done or who's asked a question similar to my question, and I'm able to do it. Now, I know that there's even more advanced things that can be done. So because I know I don't need to learn those things, I have people who are experts in it. They don't know my processes, so I can explain to them, this is exactly what I want to do, but this is what I think you can do with it. And then they can tell me, oh yeah, this is a possibility. I can do this, I can do that. I've also worked with tech people in terms of software development. So one example is we were trying to optimize performance management process in an organization I worked at in the past. Previously, everything used to be paper based. So my predecessor will literally travel to different locations to get like performance, like annual performance letters signed. It used to be like paper based. The leaders will have to sign hundreds of letters. They will have to carry them. These are very um, highly confidential documents, and you will have to carry them
Yeah.
all around. And of course, that slowed down a lot of things. So we wanted to improve that process. We wanted to improve our what we call most validation meetings. Where leaders would gather in a room, and in the past it used to be paper based, PowerPoint based. So I understood the process. I understood where the bottlenecks are. I understood the opportunities for improvement. Where do we find wastages? How can we cut wastages? And I'll just say here as well, I didn't just stay with my HR certifications. I got a Six Sigma certification. I got a CSPO certification, as an Agile Process Owner. All of those things. I mean, do I actively use them today? No, but the knowledge has helped me to be a better HR person. So, because HR itself is becoming more tech than it used to be in the past. Anyway, so back to my story. So I worked with the software developers. I could tell them, okay, we need to build a tool. The tool should be able to do this. I don't know how to build the tool, but I know what the tool should be able to do because I know what I need to do to make my process more efficient. So that is the way I've collaborated with HR people. And because they know I know what I'm talking about, they respect me. And when they build the tool, we test it together, or is it doing what we expect it to do? So in this case that I was describing, we built a tool where by the click of a button, people could print out, their annual performance results, see what their annual bonuses were, all of that information. We built a tool that made it easy for managers to do the allocation when it came to bonuses and the rewards that people were going to get based on their performance. So that's the way I've collaborated with IT people.
In terms of future trends, what IT skills do you think would become more valuable for non-IT professionals? Right. Of course, data analysis, you know, like you said, right? But you mentioned a whole lot of things. You talk about, your Agile CSPO certification, you talk about Six Sigma, all these things. They're things that, a lot of people chase, right? With the mindset that, hey, once I get this, I can break into IT, right? Without realizing that, hey, you can actually use it where you are, right? And develop yourself in, right? So what what technical skills do you think is going to become more valuable, right, with the trends that we're seeing right now and the future trends? What skills will be more valuable for non-IT professionals?
So I'll say generative AI is something that will be future. And I think we're just starting to scratch the surface. Um, HR is seen as a place where employees expect to get answers for whatever they're looking for. Um, and if you ask most employees today, they don't find the best answers they're looking for because the process it takes for HR to actually use the data that we sit on to provide answers that are um, accurate or close to accurate to employees. We don't have that yet, but generative AI is changing a lot of things. Generative AI enables HR to be able to put a lot of use cases, you know, and so situations, what happened, what was the best decision, what was the wrong decision, what could we do, all those AI tools are now becoming more intelligent to be able to analyze a huge amount of data and give us, possible best solutions that we could take or best answers we can provide to employees. and being able to understand how to use those tools, even in your own decision making as an HR person, will make a lot of difference. So if we're going to take a poll and ask HR people, have you ever used ChatGPT for your work? I don't know what the numbers will be. Um, have you ever, started to explore those HR bots, those AI bots and what they can do? And one of the things I've explored lately is, so I'm also into learning design, as part of what I've done and what I also do on the side. I have two courses on Udemy, but I haven't had time to build more. But I mean, there's one I started to build now, as time permits. But I'm using a tool called Synthesia. And Synthesia has talking heads that are AI based, right? That is one way we can use artificial intelligence within the HR space. And the advantage of that is you can actually build training in different languages without having problems with, or having to think about, going to hire someone, as your talking head, quote unquote, um, to speak all those different languages because AI enables it. So you're delivering learning content to employees across the globe in the language and the accent that they are used to, just because you're using an AI enabled tool. So more products are coming within the HR space, that are applicable to the HR space that are AI based. And HR people actually need to start to understand how we can take advantage of those tools and solutions to be able to deliver better service to our people.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, amazing. Thank you so much, Toby. Yeah, thank you for talking about Synthesia, right? It's something I've been looking to into myself, right? And these are like some really great nuggets. So if you're watching this right now or you're listening to it, um, I want you to take some of these things and, really, really start thinking about them, right? I know there's a lot of noise out there today about AI, right? But when you hear from industry professionals who are telling you the way these AI tools can be applied in the industry, then it begins to make sense. It begins to make things a lot more clearer, right? I've spoken to people who are in the customer service space, right? And I'm seeing the way AI is being applied in that area as well, So it's something that, you know, um, if you take the time to look into it and apply it into your career wherever you are, customer service, HR, insurance, sales, um, any kind of role, healthcare, anything, right? It doesn't need to be IT, right? And this is why, I'm bringing someone like Toby here, right? Just to share with you and to shed light um, into the perspective that you can gain the IT skills, but what you need to do with those IT skills is not necessarily leave where you are, right? To start chasing how to become a tech person or how to transition into the tech field, right? But look at how to develop yourself in whatever field you are and grow yourself, right? That's so, folks, if you're listening, that really is the message. My next question now is more around balancing your technical skills and your soft skills in your day-to-day relation responsibilities. How do you balance your technical IT skills and your non-IT skills and soft skills, right? How do you apply soft skills to balancing this in your day-to-day responsibilities?
Yeah, so I mean, the first thing I'll say in terms of soft skills is I find myself working in teams all the time. So understanding that team collaboration. is something that is important. And there are many soft skills that are required for effective team collaboration. So communication, so clear communication. Um, I mean, this might not be regarded as soft skill, but it is humility. Um, you know, knowing what you know and knowing what you don't know, and being clear about it. And even for what you know, being humble about it, knowing that um, you don't have the monopoly of knowledge. You know what you know today. Things are moving very fast and very quickly. Also having that quest for wanting to know. So improving your knowledge, getting to know more, being better than you were yesterday. Those are the things I have found very useful and very valuable to my career growth and my career journey. Um, One thing I've also found that, people need to do better at is just having a solution orientation. Sometimes people have a problem orientation, so they always emphasize what the problem is, what the problem is, what the problem is, especially in teams. But being able to not just identify the problem, but before you even talk about the problem, you have what the solution could be. You have that mentality of, I want to find a solution to the problem. It helps, leaders to have more confidence in you. It helps, because especially when you're working around like tech implementation projects, like there are crises all the time. There's always, something is, you know, going wrong here, going wrong there, because there are many unknowns. And then you're talking about like a fixed timeline where there's a start and there's an end. And most of the time you don't have an opportunity to change those timelines. So being able to be calm. One of the comments I've got in most of the projects I've worked in is my calmness. When everyone is going, you know, very anxious and there's so much anxiety everywhere, just being able to be calm and soak in the pressure. So you know that there's a lot of pressure, things have to get done, but not allowing the pressure to determine your actions. Just take the pressure, put it aside, stay calm, and find solution to the problem. So I know there are many more that I could have touched on, but those are the ones that I would say like top of the list for me.
What's one piece of advice you wish you had received earlier in your career journey?
Hmm. Okay. Um, I'll say maybe have the right expectations. Um,
Right
m-
expectation.
yeah, my career journey has not been the typical what's people's career journey. It's been more of an exploration than a predetermined journey. And sometimes in my exploration, I've had certain, expectations that I will not say they were not useful, but they were not well aligned. I remember when I wanted to become a business analyst, and I was thinking that a career switch was what I needed, just because I was relocated and business analysis was lucrative. I wasn't going to leave the HR field. I knew that knowledge was still important for me, but I'm grateful that without becoming a business analyst, I still function as a business analyst within the HR space. And the knowledge I got from, because I actually did a CBAP boot camp, and I will say that it wasn't wasted knowledge. Um, I still apply it, whether consciously or unconsciously. Um, but just having the right expectation, and the right expectation comes from having the right knowledge. So learning more about what's actually in the business, what are the options, what are the possibilities, and having something that is more like a clear picture of what options are available, rather than just following the bad wagon once somebody says, oh, this is where you need to be to make money.
Do you have any words of encouragement for them or any words of wisdom, just as the parting shot for them?
Yeah, I'll say number one, know what your area of strength is. It's good to learn about IT. But if you're not going to be an IT person, you're definitely not going to be an IT person. However, IT can enable any other aspect of the business. So when you know what you're good at, it helps you to, as you're acquiring IT skills, to start to see how can this help me, be a better salesperson, be a better HR person, be a better customer service person, whilst you're acquiring those IT skills. Don't just, because someone is doing it, you want to do it as well. I will also say that don't think it's technical. IT is not as technical as it is. Um, that doesn't downplay the fact that there are technical areas of IT. But what I'm trying to say is you can actually get some very useful IT skills without being very, very um, technical, or not, without being someone who is very mathematically, advanced. Um, you can actually take on some IT skills without learning how to code. There's so many ways you can apply IT, in a very minute way, but a very effective way. Like people will look at you and say, "Wow, so you could do this." And they won't know that you're not that technical. You just learned some things that are very basic, because IT is also being automated. In many ways, most of those IT tools, they are not. They are becoming easier to use. They're becoming user friendly. They are becoming less, I'll say, technical in terms of you being able to use them.
All in all, wherever you are, whether you're in tech, you are not in tech, you're trying to get into tech, um, I hope you've been able to gain a thing or two from this and hear perspective, right, from someone who is in HR that's applying tech to their field, right? So, thank you all very much. Thank you very much, Toby. Really appreciate you. Thank you for your time. Thank you for the insights. Thank you for opening up to us, right, and sharing your knowledge with us. Much appreciated. Much appreciated. All
Yeah,
right.
thank you for doing this, and thank you for having me as well.